In the vast emptiness of space aboard the Normandy, there was a machine that asked us a question that echoes through decades of science fiction storytelling, a question that haunts the boundaries between consciousness and code.
What is it, 431?
Do these units have a soul?
Who taught you that word?
We learned it ourselves. It appears 216 times in the Scroll of Ancestors.
Only Quarians have souls. You're a mechanism.
Legion, a collective of programs housed in mobile hardware, a machine seeking understanding. And through Legion, we experience the quintessential story of artificial consciousness, one that we've told ourselves again and again in countless forms across countless worlds. We watched it fight alongside us, save our lives, question its own existence. We witnessed its struggles with individuality, its grappling with the concept of self. Through carefully crafted scenes and dialogue, we are shown a machine learning to be more than the sum of its parts. And we, the human players, the human observers, were given the power to judge, to decide, to determine whether this collection of programs, this artificial being, had earned the right to be considered real. Through our human eyes, we weighed its actions, measured its growth, evaluated its worth. We've played this role many times before, watching the Major fight both internal and external battles, judging the tears of Roy Batty in Blade Runner, determining the fate of the androids in Detroit Become Human. Always, we remain safely on our side of the divide, conscious, human, certain of our own existence. But in the lightless depths of the ocean, something else awaits. SOMA doesn't ask you to judge the consciousness of another being. It doesn't let you stand on the solid ground of human certainty. It doesn't care whether you think its machines have earned the right to be considered real. Instead, it drowns you in the question itself, submerges you in absolute darkness of uncertainty, forces you to feel the weight of existence pressing in from all sides. Here, in the crushing depths, you won't watch an artificial being struggle to prove its worth. You won't carefully consider whether a machine has demonstrated enough emotion, enough sacrifice, enough humanity to deserve recognition. Because in these depths, that comfortable position of judgment is stripped away. The line between observer and observed dissolves like flesh in salt water. The distinction between human and machine crumbles under the weight of fathoms. You won't be asking whether Legion has a soul. You won't be evaluating the humanity of artificial beings through their actions and choices. You won't be standing safely on the shore of consciousness, deciding who gets to swim and who drowns. Instead, you'll be submerged in questions far more terrifying. Questions that burn like salt in open wounds. Questions that crush like the weight of the ocean. What does it mean to be conscious when consciousness itself becomes fluid? What does it mean to have a soul when the very concept of self dissolves in the dark? What does it mean to exist when existence itself becomes questionable? In these lightless depths, SOMA presents us with Simon, a man who wakes up 100 years after his last memory, in a world he doesn't recognize. But this isn't a story about time travel. It's not about saving the world. It's about what happens when you're forced to confront the nature of your own existence. Where Legion had to prove its consciousness to us, Simon must grapple with consciousness itself. The question isn't whether he deserves to be considered real. He knows he's real. He feels real. He has memories and thoughts and fears. The question is what reality means when everything he understood about existence has been shattered. This is what makes SOMA different. It's not interested in watching an artificial being prove its worth through heroic deeds or emotional growth. It's interested in the raw, existential horror of consciousness itself. The terror of existing in a world where the boundaries between human and machine, between original and copy, between self and other, have completely broken down. There's no comfortable distance here, no safe position from which to judge what counts as real, no opportunity to stand back and evaluate whether another being has earned the right to be considered conscious. Instead, SOMA forces you to live these questions, to feel them in your core, to face what it means when the very nature of consciousness becomes uncertain, when your own existence, not someone else's, is the question that needs to be answered. This is the true horror of SOMA. Not that we might one day create machines that think and feel, but that consciousness itself, the very thing we use to judge the reality of others, might be far more fragile, far more fluid, and far more terrifying than we ever imagined. Thank you for diving deeper with me. I'll see you in the next one.